Hello and welcome back, consumers. I'm Altari, the professional gamer, and today we are going to be going over an exclusive gameplay preview that is featuring a lot of the new changes that have come up in the Pax Dei Alpha 2, known as the Wilderness Alpha. And we're just going to be doing a commentary over this gameplay. So as always, if you like this type of content, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if this is the type of content that you enjoy and you'd like to be notified whenever we post new Pax Dei information. And share this video with any of your friends who might be interested in Pax Dei. All right, let's go ahead and get into some of this. So the first thing I'd like to mention here is that the servers are separated. We have EU servers, and then we have a US East server. I don't know if those servers are going to be expanded after they open the 100,000 invitations for everyone on the 23rd, but that's how it is conformed right now, and the servers have been responding really well, and I've been very impressed with the stability of them in this test so far. Granted, there are a lot less players than there will be. Here you can see that we just went and made Paxian. The character creator is all pretty standard from what we had previously, and then we selected Ancien Gravis as our start location, and here it is. This is the first ever Alpha 2 gameplay footage that we are going to be looking at here, and this is Paxian. He's looking off over at the Golden City there. It is the city that my clan and I have been working on for a while, and here you can see that we're going through a little bit of the starting up process that you would as a solo player, and you have to go and make your hammer, go and get a new plot, and then start gathering to unlock some new recipes, as well as get ready to start gearing up for harder and harder difficulty PvE encounters, much like the boars that are here. Now, one thing I would like to show here is that I am actually attack canceling and using that to block the boars' attacks. Now, for this, I was trying to show what happens when you die, but that shield is actually really good at blocking a lot of the damage that comes in from a boar. But in order to show some progression here, we did end up dying from the boar, so we needed to gear ourselves back up. Now, a lot of improvements have come out with the crafting system, and those are going to continue to come out on our way to Alpha 2 and beyond. But this is just a little example of some of that crafting that we are all going to be doing in one way, shape, or form, and we go ahead and equip some of our gear. Now, you might have noticed that when we equipped the leather jerkin, we did get a spell called Radiant Mend. That is a AoE healing spell. It heals all of the players that are around you. What you might have also noticed is that it said tier 1. So there are actually multiple tiers of spells that exist in the game, and that's what the devs were talking about when they gave their post yesterday. And there are a lot of new spells for players to get to unlock and craft into our various pieces of equipment. Here you can see me getting attacked or attacking a bear. It did not go well. Bears are extremely difficult in this version of the build. In fact, most enemies are brutal when it comes to the amount of damage that they can do to a player. It is not as common as it used to be in Alpha 1, where you could just walk up to any creature like a boar or a bear and you could beat it even with your bare fists. This is just not the case, and we ended up perishing. So we need to find some new friends in order to accomplish our goals, and we ended up joining the Golden Company. This is actually the clan that I help lead in Pax Dei, and we have a couple of testers that are active in the Friends and Family Alpha, and this is actually the city that we've built here. So we got accepted into the clan, and now we're being given a little bit of a tour. One of the kind of entry rituals that our clan goes through is there's some kind of initiation that you must go through, and for me in this case it was praying to the divine. This is our sacred holy site that players travel from far and wide in order to experience the transcendent nature of that holy site. And here we are now gearing up to go on a little bit more of a intense adventure. We're going to go and attack some Inquisition. And in order to do that, we have Copperhead over here. He is equipping a lot of gear, and you can see that he has all of that prepped and ready to go. He has a really cool shoulder piece there as well. It can grant a really decent buff permanently, or at least for an hour, grants you 20 additional health, and that doesn't cost anything but a little bit of stamina to cast. It is a really useful tool, and you can see that we are going to need all of the health that we can get. I got hit by one arrow and my health went down almost 30. And you can see me trying to use the block mechanic here, and the Inquisition Judicator did try and stun me himself. Now, I was able to recover with another block, but the damage was already done. You can see Copperhead here is taking a lot of damage as well. That is a byproduct of how difficult these enemies actually are now. He is pretty well geared. I wouldn't say that he's in top tier gear, but he's getting up there, and he's still getting pretty hurt. A lot of that is, again, we are trying to die here to demonstrate the kind of iterative improvements that we're going to be going on as we get better and better gear, we level up more, and we start to head out into the wildlands. So now we have another member of the Golden Company who has come in. He is now blessing us with another buff from the same shoulder pads, and you can see now our health is at 140. That is going to be very useful because we are attacking our first named boss, known as Inquisitor Veritatis, and we actually got lucky and there was a double spawn of him. Now, these bosses drop very good loot. They're known as relics, and these relics can be used to craft items that have spells on them. And you're going to see that we picked up to eradicate Law 1.6, and that has some lore attached to it as well. At some point, we're actually going to go through all of the various relics and their lore for Alpha 2, so if that's something that interests you, be sure to check it out. And now Paxian is going to deposit the lore relics that he picked up into a library, a makeshift library. I believe that there's going to be a lot more of an extensive knowledge system in the future, and that is definitely a topic that we're probably going to ask during an interview that might or might not be coming up in the future. But either way, here we can now see the repair dynamics that are going. And one important bit is that whenever I repair part of my equipment, you'll notice that the durability bar on bottom goes back up, but then the lifetime bar goes down. When that lifetime bar reaches the very end, that item is permanently destroyed. You cannot repair it anymore. It's no longer usable. So that is how at least the first iteration of item economy is going to work in Pax Dei. And you can see here, we actually just crafted a new piece of gear using one of the relics that we found. It makes a headpiece that has Divine Remedy 1 on it. Now, this is the first tier of the spell. You could probably notice that it was relatively easy for us to gain access to that relic, and that is because it is a tier 1 spell. Tier 1 spells are still really, really good. They're also really cheap to produce, so that might be something that's also going to be seen as relatively useful for PvP kits in-game. But here, I'm now just demonstrating some of those. And one of the important new features for this alpha is that you might notice that the skill bar that used to be there previously, and you'd switch between your inventories and your spells, is now completely gone, and you'll use the left alt button with either right click, left click, or 1 through 5 on your number pad or number keys up top. And that is a new system that they're adding for the Wilderness Alpha, and that is actually a really, really useful tool that you can use. You'll be able to equip only 5 at this point in time, but that is altogether more than enough. Now, we decided that we are going to go and adventure to gather some pure iron to get some better armor, but that requires that we take a trip into the new PvP zone known as Lyonesse. This region is a full loot PvP region. Once you leave the safe zone, you are going to be able to PvP. And this is actually going to be the first taste of PvP that we will all see. Again, next week on March 29th, we are going to have a entire interview section committed to PvP and asking questions revolving it. But this is some of the first PvP gameplay footage that we are going to get. Now, in this zone, there is a lot of fog kind of near the spawn region. I think that might be intentional to kind of prevent a lot of spawn camping. It's pretty easy to avoid other players when there's such thick fog. But now we're going out and we're adventuring to go to a mine. There, I believe, are 3 or 4 mines located in Lyonesse, and they're distributed across the map, and you'll be able to go there to gather some pure iron. Pure iron, for those of you who don't know, is an exceptionally good piece of material. It is the most efficient way for you to be able to manufacture steel in game. For those of you who are familiar with the first alpha, steel is a relatively high tier of crafting, and it is a very time-consuming process to gather it otherwise. Here you can see a quick little map of the entire Lyonesse wildlands, and now after gathering some of that pure iron, we decided to head back home, but so this is obviously very much so a staged encounter. I mean, the person that's attacking me is called the bad guy, and then we have another one named Malos. So these are definitely people who I asked to sit there and fight me. But either way, we are trying to demonstrate a little bit of what PvP is going to look like. Now, I would say that combat here, again, is very much so a work in progress. I don't know what the developer's time to kill is really going to be in the future, but as it stands right now, it's a relatively workable time to kill for a intense little fight with PvP. You can see that I'm switching between blocking and targets here to keep both of them kind of on their toes as I'm trying to 2v1 them right now, and it does not end well. Why? Because Pax Dei in the Wilderness Alpha, it is about going out into the world, exploring, building up your resources, and getting better every single time. So that is the gameplay that I wanted to go over for today, and it is important to remember that we have all of these dates for the interviews coming up. We have it on the 29th, the 5th of April, the 12th of April. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this quick little gameplay overview from the Pax Dei Wilderness Alpha. We are going to be covering a lot more material as we get into Alpha 2, and we also have all of those interviews that are going to be coming up over the next 4 weeks. So if you haven't done so already, don't forget to like if you enjoy this type of content, subscribe if you want to be notified whenever we drop new Pax Dei related videos, and share this with any of your friends who might be interested in Pax Dei. Until next time, I'm Altai, the Professional Gamer.